Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show as well. Well, I mean, it's really on all of my shows, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do, or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Corey Buchan, happy Monday, everyone. He says, Tracy St. Clair, good morning, over on YouTube as well. I don't know what it looks like. Twitter made some changes this weekend, so it's not live on Twitter right now. I'm going to have to get that corrected. Apparently you need a premium account to go live on Twitter at this point. So I'm just on LinkedIn and YouTube until we get that squared away, you guys. And really, I'm trying to get everybody to slowly start to migrate over to YouTube, because for me, and from what I've heard from all the viewers and everybody who tunes into this, the stream is exponentially better over on YouTube compared to other platforms out there. So we're really trying to go over there. All of my stuff is just, if you just look for the Freight Coach, that's what it is across all social media. So if you guys want to go over to the YouTube channel on there, just look for the Freight Coach and then jump over there onto the stream, and we will definitely be going live over there. Uma Taylor, good morning to you. Uma, you're in Houston, aren't you? I wanted to say I saw that there's something about you being in Houston. If you are, I hope you and your family and everybody is doing okay with everything that went through there last week with that hurricane. Let me see here. It is, let's see here. Sorry guys, we got freight moving already. We already had loads picking up. We got another driver who's en route right now. All right, perfect. Sorry about that, you guys. Again, we are moving freight. We are booking freight left and right. And the load that already got loaded this morning in Atlanta, green screens. That's how I bid that one out. That's how I won it. That is what we use for literally everything out there, you guys. Every single load that we bid on is bid through green screens. You guys check them out. It's some of the most, if not the most accurate pricing that I have seen out there. And that's like one of the biggest questions that I'll get throughout the week is they need help pricing freight and everything else. I have found that green screens is to be the most accurate one that we use inside of our brokerage. Anyways, let's jump into some things out there. And yeah, obviously there was some really kind of freaky stuff that happened this weekend. And I want to take my little overlay down there, because I want everybody to abundantly be clear. Like this is me. This is Chris Jolly's opinion on a lot of this stuff, and nobody else who's associated with this show. I think what we saw this weekend, obviously anybody who was on social media at all, you guys are very aware of the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump. And, there's a lot of stuff that you see that's going to come out about this. And, personal biases aside on anything, nobody should be afraid to go through any of that stuff out there. I'm a fan of Trump. I voted for Trump, and I plan on voting for Trump. But, I would be saying this exact same thing if it happened to President Biden as well, because nobody deserves that, regardless of what they say and everything. And, I think one of the big things that a lot of us as individuals need to focus on is what can we do as an individual? Because, we look at a lot of these events, and, we look at a lot of these things that are currently going on in our country, and you're thinking, where do you start? What do we do? How do we fix this? Because it's going to come from us. as citizens of this country. It's not going to come from nobody's going to come and save us, you guys. Like, we are the solution to a lot of this. And it's no secret to anybody who listens to this show that I follow, Andy Frisella, the Real AF podcast. Listen to that show, you guys. Andy speaks nothing but the truth, in my opinion. And he talks and he says this a lot about personal excellence being the ultimate rebellion. And, I know the irony of this being on social media and saying that I truly think a lot of us need to step back from social media here for a little bit, because I think it's going to get more and more chaotic with a lot of this stuff that's out there that's all geared to distract and everything. And, I look at it, what can you do in your local community? And here's what I'm doing, right? Like, I've been on a mission to improve myself overall for these last couple of years. I've taken back control of my health. I've built discipline in a lot of areas of my life. And I'm going to continue to do that and continue to set the example that I want to live here in this country, for the change, to bring this country back to what I thought it was growing up, but most importantly, what we as citizens can make it going forward. Because it's on all of us individually. It's on all of us individually to fix this. To start at your local school board, or start with your local elections and everything else, and work your way up. But most importantly, you guys, it's an absolute travesty that happened in our lifetime, and we witnessed that live on TV. And I think there's a lot of people who are upset. There's a lot of people who are going to spew off lies and everything else out there. But you, as the individual, you got to focus on you. You got to focus on your actions, most importantly here. I look at it as I'm in control of my actions. I'm in control of my home and what I can do, and how can I influence the people around me. That's something that I've focused on a lot here with this podcast over these last couple of years. Is I want to add value to the transportation industry, the industry that I've worked in my entire life, that my family's been in for almost 100 years. And it's a little over 90 years at this point, since a member of my family has been in the transportation industry. And I want to see this industry improve. But, it's going to take all of us. And if we want this country to improve, you guys, it's going to take all of us. And, and I think that, be aware of the people and what their actions are. Because, words at this point in my life, I like to watch people with a silent movie, because everybody's going to tell you the right thing in the right moment. But what do their actions do? What do their actions say? Because their actions will truly tell the story. And I'm going to fight like hell to make sure that this country is in a better position, or at least on the right track. Because I have a son. He's 13 years old. I have planned on having more children as well. And I will not keep my mouth shut on things. I will speak my mind, but most importantly, I'm going to try and protect them in every way I possibly can. And not try, I'm going to protect them in every way I possibly can. And I feel like everybody should be doing that. I feel like that's your duty, but again, I think it's got to start with us as the individuals. And if you want to see change at all, if you want to see change in your life, if you want to see change in your community, it's got to come from you. Because why not you? I've told this story recently, and I don't think I shared it on this show, but I was able to purchase my first home. It'll be a couple of years, 2 years. I was able to purchase my first home, and literally the first thing I did is I hung the American flag on it. And I didn't notice any other homes in my neighborhood really that had them up, but within a couple of months, there's like 14, 15 of them that now fly that flag every single day out there, and I think that your actions will always tell a better story than anything that you can say. And I think that you have to exercise your rights that are guaranteed to you as a citizen of the United States. And I think for where we have an opportunity, you guys, to correct this. We really do. We have an opportunity to correct this, because it's not left versus right. It's not black versus white. It's not gay versus straight. It's not any of that stuff, you guys. It's literally a couple of people out there that are fucking trying to ruin it for the rest of us because they're power hungry and everything else. But we yield the power as citizens of this country. The way that the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all of that is structured is to protect us from the government. All right. That's what it's there for. And we need to exercise that. So, I wanted to put this out there, you guys, because I'm not going to try and spark hate or division, because I think that that's already where we are. This is the most divided I've ever seen things in my life, but I want to be part of the solution. I don't want to continue to be part of the problem. And if anybody out there is hearing what I'm saying right now and they don't like it, I wish you the best. If you don't want to listen to me anymore, that's fine. Like, I wish you the best, and I hope you find everything that you're looking for in life, because I'm going to be part of the solution that I deem is the solution for this country moving forward. And most importantly, for this industry that I love, and be a positive change for this industry, because it's going to come from us. All right. If you want to bring it down to the secular level of transportation, it comes down to us and the individuals that are in this industry. So if we want to see change in the trucking industry, it's got to come from us. Plain and simple. This is the only place it can come from. But Uma, it's good. She said, we survived and we worked in the dark, small generator and a few laptops and a monitor because business had to go on. But honestly, it's been like a war zone here, not with the people, but with the damage. Yeah, I've seen some of the photos out there, Uma. It looks bad, and I hope that it gets corrected here really quick. And Uma also said that as for everything that happened with Trump, I feel so sad and hurt for the country and its people. This is why I'm saying people need to pass positivity, not negativity. Negativity is what caused this, and this is the land of freedom. My boys deserve to live in a better country. All of our kids deserve a better future. I agree with you 100%, Uma, and it's going to come from us, right? It's going to come from us. Our actions, the way that we live our lives, and the way that we conduct ourselves moving forward, that's what's going to cause change out there. But I just wanted to put that out there and let you know that this is my opinion out there, and there's nobody else. I didn't want to have any other associations on there because I'm very fortunate to have advertisers on the show, but I wanted that so there would be no clips on social media with anybody's logo up there but me and my own on what I just said there. So anyways, you guys, with that being said, let's jump in and talk about some freight, because there is a lot of stuff that is going on out here in the industry. And there's a lot of opportunity that's coming up here, you guys. And I want us to all be aware of it and able to kind of capitalize on it. But first one is, let's see here. Bob Hazrati. Damn, it has been a while, man. Let's go. Good to see you back. All right. First article we're going to break down is from fleetowner.com, and it's talking about House funding bills making major trucking policy calls. The U.S. House Appropriations Committee is weighing in on a major regulatory issues in trucking. The committee on July 10th passed two major fiscal year 2025 appropriations bills that would fund the Department of Transportation, the Department of Health and Human Services. The funding for Health and Human Services is for further pressure on the department to develop hair testing guidance for the DOT. The funding bill, which first released in late June, and it includes a swath of significant policy directives. It talks about hair follicle testing. The Appropriations Committee is pressured the Department of Health and Human Services to establish appropriate hair testing guidance for truck drivers. This committee passed I'm just going to skip around here. In its report, the Appropriation Committee explicitly directs Health and Human Services to produce guidance for the hair testing as an alternative drug testing method for commercial drivers. The committee also recognizes that since the FAST Act was signed into law, our nation has experienced a crippling substance use epidemic, particularly from opioids and synthetic opioids. The federal inaction to recognize hair testing as a viable alternative to urinalysis has denied Americans a legitimate tool to stem the crisis, the report states. This is a glaring reminder that drug-impaired driving remains a serious issue and poses tremendous risk to the safety of the motoring public. Furthermore, the committee requests that the Health and Human Services provide an update on its hair testing method efforts out there. And then the American Trucking Association commended the policy's push for hair testing. For far too long, and across multiple administrations, Health and Human Services has ignored a congressional directive and dragged its feet on creating an option for motor carriers to use hair testing to deter and detect drug use. This interminable delay is unacceptable and inexcusable, and it puts our highway safety at risk, said Chris Spears. We appreciate the House Appropriations Committee exerting pressure on them to finalize its long overdue guidance. I think that this is something that should definitely be into play here. I really do. I think that if you're going to be operating in a commercial vehicle, you need to be held to higher standards. I don't. I honestly think that especially because you look at they're talking about opioids, they're talking about some of these amphetamines and everything else. Like some of this stuff can get through your system pretty quickly. And I think that there needs to be a way to detect a lot of this, you guys, because I think nobody can argue that impaired driving is good, because there needs to be a solution in place to curb this. There really, really does. And we need to get ahead of this. And there needs to be some additional testing that's put in place because, I don't think anybody can argue that they don't want safer roads or that impaired driving is bad. And, I don't want anybody who's operating heavy equipment down the road to have any of that shit in their system at all. Like, I mean, Jesus, I don't see how how anybody could make an argument against that, because, from what I'm seeing, and this is directly tied towards opioids and hair follicle. I don't care if you're fucking an occasional user of that shit. You should never be behind the wheel of a fucking semi at all. Yeah. And all right, back to the article here, and it also passes let's see here, the bill 90 for relevant agencies has several noteworthy in the trucking industry. It dedicates $200 million to support truck parking availability. It bars ELD device mandates for livestock carriers, prohibits speed limiter requirements, blocks congestion tolls, and limits support for California and Washington meal and rest break rules, and combats transportation greenhouse gas emissions, and then reduces funding for the grant programs overall. I think that, in regards to truck parking, like there is some phenomenal whatchamacallits that are in place, are private companies that are in place that I think are really starting to curb this and open up a lot of this. Yes, I'd like to see funding for the transportation industry, but I would like to see, like, what is this research for to support, right? Like, because that $200 million could be allocated in a different direction, because I think that I'm not saying that there isn't a truck parking program. I just think that there is enough solutions in place right now that is working to accurately curb that. I mean, you look at Finn Park, for example, or Truck Parking Club. Those are two that are top of my mind out there when it comes down to truck parking. And then I think that from my perspective here, also prohibits speed limiter requirements for heavy commercial vehicles. I've spoken out against speed limiters for a long time, because what's the point of a speed limit? I don't think that there should be speed limiters. And then I think the greenhouse gas, I'm not even going to fucking comment on that. That sounds like anyways. And then what happens next? It goes on to say that the House appropriations bills still face a lengthy and volatile legislative passage, because obviously it has to go through House and Senate and everything else. But that article is from fleetowner.com. Next article we're going to break down here is from JOC. My man Eric Johnson wrote this, and Slink founder Kirchner gets 20-year prison sentence out there. Chris Kirchner, the founder and former CEO of logistics software vendor Slink, has been sentenced to 20 years in prison after being found guilty of defrauding investors. This is a crazy story. All right, this is just going to be a summarization of this, but if you guys have some time and you guys want a big lesson in what not to do, you need to legitimately read up on this Slink case in general. It is fucking insane. But anyways, it came after his conviction came after that they found that he had misappropriated funds invested in Sling for personal use. And then he has also ordered him to pay $65 million in restitution. He's 37 years old and was the CEO from founding in 2017 until he was fired in mid-2022. That's when the financial irregularities emerged. Even as his company was circling the drain, he was spending millions of his investors' money for himself. Sling declared bankruptcy last October. And then according to evidence presented out there by the Department of Justice, at the end of sentencing, he raised more than $71 million from investors out there. Over that period, he initiated 100 wire transfers, moving money from his Silicon Valley Bank account into the company's account at JP Morgan, and then an account only he had access to before wiring the money from the Chase account to his personal bank accounts. He also wired $20 million directly into his personal checking account. That is fucking insane to me, you guys. That is absolutely insane. This article is from the JOC, and it's a shorter one, but I would read up on this. If you guys want a masterclass in what not to do, I would read up on that for sure. JOC.com put that one out. The next article we are going to break down is talking about optimistic. Let's get optimistic about logistics. And this is from ttnews.com. And I'm not going to pull, because this is a longer read overall, but I think that from my perspective, I'm not always, the most positive person about things, but I prefer to take the optimistic route more than anything when it comes down to our industry. And I'm saying that because I think a lot of, and I've talked about this a lot, you guys, the market is what it is, and it's always going to be what it's always going to be, but it's supposed to be hard. I think business is supposed to be hard. And I think that there's a lot of people out there who don't think that way. They think that because they have a pulse and because they show up that they're entitled to success. And that's just couldn't be further from the truth. And, where we are right now as an industry and where the market is, I mean, none of us can control this, right? Not one of us can control this. And again, back to what I was saying earlier in the show, what are you going to do? How are you going to improve? I think like what you do throughout your day, if you actually took stock of it, you would realize that you're not working nearly as hard as you think. I never think that I work hard for the most part. I always think that there's more that I could do. And, when you're building a book of business and when you're building a business in general, you have a lot of downtime. All right. You're not constantly on the grind 24/7, 365, because the reality is nobody's fucking responding to your outreach. Nobody's responding to your phone calls. Nobody's responding to your emails. So what the fuck are you really doing throughout the day? The majority of you, and I will lump myself into this because I was doing it. I was just on social media, right? I was scrolling. I was hoping something would pop up. I wasn't actually fucking putting forth any real effort on it until, eventually everybody hits that point where they realize that, shit's got to change and the change starts with you. So, what you're doing outside of the data, of your daily schedule is so important. Like I look at it like this. When's the last time you picked up a book to maybe discover a little bit more about yourself? There's a ton of great information out there or other podcasts besides this one, because, if you want to learn about freight, I'm the only one you guys really need to listen to. But outside of that, there are very successful entrepreneurs that put out a lot of content that can help you out. Andy Frisella, the Real AF podcast, Ed Milet with the Ed Milet Show, Alex Hermosi, Brad Lee. Those are the top 4 that I listen to for business and personal development and current events. Those are the top 4 that I listen to. And that has spawned a ton of other books that I have picked up and read and that I do read throughout the year. But I think I am optimistic. I choose to be optimistic about where the market is because I know that there's opportunities that are out there. I know how hard I have accepted the fact that I am on the absolute hardest possible path you can choose in business. And that is to be an entrepreneur. And that is going to be, I have to go through a lot of, I got to figure it the fuck out moments. And that's where a lot of us are in business. And I think that no matter what, there's an opportunity that is out there. There is somebody out there who is not performing at a high level. And it is your opportunity to go in there and to earn that business, no matter what. That's got to be your mentality, whether it's good market, bad market. You're never good All right. You're never in a spot where you can look back and say to yourself, hey, I'm fine. I don't need to develop any more business. You should be constantly on the pursuit of doing that. You should be constantly on the pursuit of how do I improve my current customer relationships with my business and everything else, and try and build that customer loyalty. And then you should constantly be looking at your processes. Is your sales outreach actually effective? Are your internal training programs effective? What are you doing to improve your business? Because you're never in a spot where you are just quote unquote good. And I think that no matter what, whether it's good times, bad times, up, down, it does not matter. You should be constantly on the pursuit of bettering yourself and everything else. And I think that's why a lot of people tune into the show. I don't know everything, but I bring a lot of subject matter experts on this show to help improve other people's businesses and to have different conversations out there in the market to better themselves. And I think that if you're consuming this, you guys, there's a lot of other work that we can do together to improve things overall. But I'm always optimistic on the transportation industry, and I'm definitely optimistic on my company and what we are going to do out there in the market. But that is going to be it for today. I got guests coming on the next couple of days, you guys. We got a couple of long form podcasts coming up. We got some exciting announcements here coming up in the next couple of weeks that I think you guys are all going to really, really enjoy. And we're going to be kind of changing things up here from a content perspective and everything else. But I think you guys are going to enjoy the new announcements that we're going to be rolling out here. But as always, you guys, if you guys got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network, because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.